Before I get started with this story, let me give a shout out to Tawana Cook in the Discord for posting this. And when I saw this story, I already knew what I was going to title it. And as y'all can see, that's what I came up with. So in this picture, you see a man by the name of Valesky Barosy. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce his last name. He's 27 years old. He claims to be an entrepreneur or Instagram entrepreneur, and he is joining the long list of idiots who decided they were going to take the PPP loan and commit fraud with it and literally flash it all over the place like they really had it all going on, and has now been arrested in connection with using PPP loans for their own personal gain. Like, this guy literally all over social media taking pictures of getting out of Lamborghinis. He's having these different events and all types of stuff like that. Now, this guy, they say, is a internet entrepreneur, but he's taking other people's money and tricking off with it, basically, so to speak. And like I said, the list continues to grow. It just continues to grow. And I can't even count how many videos I've done talking about people committing these PPP loan frauds. But someone did point something out to me where they were saying that they're noticing that a lot of the people that are committing these kind of frauds turn out to be a lot of black people. And I don't know if that's coincidence, or it's just that people are just that dumb to commit this kind of act. Because basically, if you're going to commit this kind of fraud, what you should have been doing is taking that money, flipping it a little bit before the government finds out what it is that you're doing, and then give it back. You know, flip it to make some money for yourself that maybe cannot be accounted for, and then take the money that you did take and give that money back. But no, not these individuals, not these flashy fools. They got to go and get everything they can. Remember, the last one I did was it was a black man, I think out of Texas. And they said he immediately started spending that money as soon as he got it. He didn't waste no time. Like, by the time they recovered any money that he did have left over, it was only a small fraction of what he stole. Now I'm going to go ahead and read this article that's coming from, it is coming from the Miami Herald. It was posted December 30th, 2021. Probably one of the last stories they made of the year. Valesky Barosy, online at least, was living the high life in Miami, driving an exotic Lamborghini, posing on a private jet, boasting on an Instagram account with over 110,000 followers. He touted himself as an immigrant success story, arriving from Haiti a decade ago, working his way up from menial job at Walmart to regional vice president of a credit repair company that purportedly racks up $3.6 million in sales. But in reality, federal authorities say the 27-year-old Barosy and his cohorts were ripping off taxpayers, fraudulently securing $2.1 million in loans to buy the peak Miami status symbols, a Lamborghini EVO, Rolex and Hublot watches, and designer clothing from Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Chanel. And see, that's the part that makes it even worse. This guy claimed to be a whole internet entrepreneur and work his way up as a Haitian immigrant, only to discover that this guy didn't do none of that and was just stealing money. Just straight up lying. And see, that doesn't look good for the people who are quote unquote immigrants, who claim that they started with nothing and this is what they did, because now they're going to associate scamming with that, at least from them. And if you are a black immigrant, they're definitely going to associate it with you. Keep in mind what just happened with the Haitian immigrants when they tried to cross the border last year. What happened? They sent them right back to Haiti. A federal grand jury has now indicted Barosy on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and aggravated identity theft. The indictment was unsealed Wednesday as Barosy made his first appearance in a Fort Lauderdale federal court. Barosy is being held in federal detention. His defense attorney did not return a call seeking comment on Wednesday. The Payroll Protection Program, or PPP, was created in 2020 to help businesses decimated following shutdowns caused by the rapid spread of the virus. The program allowed for the loans to be forgiven if borrowers follow criteria laid out by the Small Business Administration, or SBA. As the nation's #1 fraud capital, South Florida has led the financial crime wave that followed the passage of the CARES Act, according to federal prosecutors. In South Florida, that included a businessman using PPP money to buy a $318,000 Lamborghini, and a nurse alleged to have lied about his business to get $474,000 that was used in part to pay a Mercedes-Benz lease and child support, and a North Miami suburban couple that claimed to be farmers to qualify for a $1 million in relief benefits. Before I go any further, I have a feeling that they're doing this because they know a lot of people are going to commit these frauds and people are going to fall for it. For once, I can't even fault the government for doing this, because it's really the fault of people that are going out to commit this. If you weren't so greedy and a glutton for punishment, you wouldn't be going out there and committing these acts. You know that the money doesn't belong to you. So why bother trying to take it, as if the government is not going to find out about it later? Now, one thing people did say is that we know that it's different groups of people that are committing these acts, but it's seemingly like they're only putting black faces out there. I do notice that that does seem a bit one-sided, especially since I've talked about this on numerous occasions and it was a mixed group of people, but most of the ones that I have talked about, or the ones that they did put out there, happen to be black, and mainly black men that are doing it. So I don't know how they're just picking and choosing on who to talk about when it comes to the PPP fraud. But just know it's not only black men that are committing this fraud. It's everyone is committing this. This month, 2 Florida men pled guilty to helping arrange over $35 million in PPP loans. The ring also netted the conviction of a former NFL player, Joshua Bellamy, who was sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for wire fraud conspiracy. As for Barosy, according to the indictment, he was the president of a company known as V. Barosy Solutions Incorporated, or VBS. For various loans, per the feds, Barosy dummied up the prior year expenses, net profit, and payroll, and submitted bogus IRS tax forms to secure the payments, which were then used to buy the Lambo, the watches, and the clothes. He wasn't bashful about flaunting his wealth. On Instagram, he posted often with the white Lambo, pitching himself as a mentor who could inspire and enrich. It's not the Lamborghini or the $1 million home that will inspire the world, but the trials and tribulations you overcame, he wrote in one post. Considering he wrote all of that and then this comes out about him, that makes him look like a straight up hypocrite. Although the details are nebulous, his online bios tout Barosy as a 7-figure entrepreneur, complete with all the 2021 buzzwords: NFT creator, marketing, e-commerce, and vaguely boasts about having appeared on ABC, Fox News, and Miami News. How this Haitian entrepreneur went from Walmart to disrupting the multi-million-dollar credit repair industry blared the headline on one press release. Additionally, he boasts about being part of Financial Education Services Incorporated, a company described by Georgia's Attorney General as an illegal credit repair business that uses unlawful and deceptive practices in their multi-level marketing structure. The company in 2019 agreed to pay a $1.75 million fine to the state of Georgia over its practices. The company appears to now go by the name United Wealth Education. The investigation was headed by the U.S. Secret Service. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jonathan Balin is prosecuting the case, while federal prosecutor Nicole Grosnoff will oversee efforts to seize his ill-gotten goods. Barosy faces up to 132 years in prison if convicted. Up to 132 years. Now, what's crazy is listening to that. Are the people going to fight for him to get a reduction if it came to that, like they did for what's his face, the one with the truck out on the in the Midwest, out in Colorado? Are they gonna go and fight for him like that or not? Or are they gonna say that's completely his fault? Which this definitely is his fault, because he look at what he did. He literally led a whole fraudulent lifestyle. Granted, could his business been real? Most likely it could have been, but he boasted about it. So now people are going to question the legitimacy of his business practices. And like I said, he is a person of Haitian descent who's only been here for what they said a decade. So he's only been here since like 2011 maybe. He hasn't been here that long. And this is so he's only been here since what they say, he's 27 now. So he's only been here since he was 17, 16 years of age, since he's a teenager. So he wasn't even here when he was a child, like a small child. But they said Florida is a hotbed for this, for the PPP fraud. Florida, of course. But yeah, this guy's dumb. This guy's dumb. If he had, like I said, if he has a legitimate business like he claimed he did, just continue to earn the bones off of that. But then let's just hypothetically say that he is in this business that he claims to be a part of. Him doing this is going to make people look at his business sideways if there's other people that's involved, because they're going to be like, well, you had to take money from other people, flaunt it off like it was yours. And now I'm questioning the compensation plan of the business and how much money you actually did make before you pulled this. Now I'm going to be like, I don't want to be a part of that. And that could, and let's just say the business is legit. That actually hurts everybody else that's involved in the business who does not engage in the kind of activity that this guy clearly did, thus hurting their income. That could get a business shut down because of one person. But yeah, like, that's crazy. But what's crazy is them saying he could be convicted of up to 132 years in prison. That's even more wild. Even I can say that that's excessive, considering the amount of years other people have received, way less than that. So it's like, what in the, who in the world did he steal from? Did he pull up Bernie Madoff? Because that's the only way I can see him getting that kind of time. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.